Welcome to today's Planning and Zoning meeting, Wednesday, February 17th, 2016. The first item on the agenda is to take action on all consent items, and there's most of the whole agenda is on consent. If there's anyone that wants to speak to an item, we would need a blue card on that right away. Otherwise, I'm going to ask Michelle to please read the consent agenda.
Item 2A is approval of the minutes from the January 19th and January 20th, 2016 study sessions and regular hearing. Item 3A is case Z16004 in District 6, the 8300 block of East Baseline Road on the north side, approximately 16 acres. This is a site plan review and special use permit for a parking reduction to allow for a multi-residence development. The staff recommendation is continuance to March 23rd to allow for re-advertising. Item 3B is Z16011, District 6, located on the east side of Crismon Road, north of the US-60 Superstition Freeway, approximately 0.82 acres. This is a site plan review to allow for the development of a restaurant with a drive-through. The staff recommendation is continuance to March 23rd, 2016. Item 4A is KZ15044 in District 5, the 7100 and 7200 blocks of East McDowell Road, approximately 14.3 acres. This is a rezone from PEP PAD on approximately 7.53 acres and LC PAD on approximately 6.77 acres to LC BIZ PAD and a council use permit to allow for the development of a transitional senior living facility. The staff recommendation is a continuance to our March 1st, 2016 special meeting. Item 4C is KZ16010 in District 6, the 10,100 through 10,300 blocks of East Guadalupe Road, approximately 27 acres. This is a rezoning from RM2 PAD to RSL 2.5 PAD and a site plan review to allow a single residence development. The staff recommendation is approval with conditions. Item 4D is case Z16012 in District 4, 60 South Country Club Drive, approximately 0.66 acres. This is a rezoning from DB1 to DB2, a site plan review and a special use permit to allow for the development of an automobile vehicle sales and leasing facility, and the staff recommendation is continuance to March 23rd to allow for re-advertising. Item 4E is case Z16013, District 6, the 8400 through 8600 blocks of East Guadalupe Road. It is approximately 18.5 acres. This is a rezoning from RS43 and RS6 PAD to RS6 PAD and a site plan review to allow for a single residence development. The staff recommendation is approval with conditions with the modified conditions discussed in our study session earlier. Item 5B is the Mulberry preliminary plat, 10,100 through 10,300 blocks of East Guadalupe Road. This is the companion case to Z16010. The staff recommendation is approval with conditions. And the Guadalupe preliminary plat, 8,400 through 8,600 blocks of East Guadalupe Road, the companion plat to case Z16013, and the staff recommendation is approval with conditions.
Thank you, Michelle. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I would make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as read in for the record.
Do you have a second?
I second that.
Please vote. Our screen, oh, there it is. Passed unanimously. So the next item on our agenda would be 4B, which is zoning case Z16009 in District 2, 1,000 block of North Greenfield Road, East Side, District 2, located south of the southeast corner of Greenfield Road and Brown Road, approximately 3.59 acres, rezoning from AG to RS15 PAD and site plan review. This request will allow a single-family residence development. If I could have staff give a quick overview, and then we'll have the applicant go ahead and talk to us about this.
As you stated, it is a rezone from AG to RS15 PAD and site plan review. It's located south of the southeast corner of Brown and Greenfield Roads. They're proposing an additional 10 lots, which will be an extension of a subdivision that's approved and under construction out there called the Estates at Valencia. This will be the Estates at Valencia South. They are proposing just 10 more lots along a street that's going to be an exit street that connects to the neighborhood. It'll be exit only onto Greenfield Road. There are 2 lots that have been a bit of a concern to staff in how they're designed. They side onto Fountain Street, which runs through the neighborhood, so they are a significant length for those 2 houses on the site plan, lots 7 and 8. So that's something that we've been looking at and contemplating options for. And in your staff report on page 7, you'll see that there's some exhibits. One that we had asked the applicant to show us how those lots could work and how those homes could, set on those lots and still create a nice street front as you're driving down Fountain Street. And for those homes that will be across the street, that'll look out the front of their home out into the neighborhood and what they're going to look at. The applicants proposed to do the side of the homes with them facing each other. Staff's concern with the proposal that the applicant provided was the fact that if you look at the where the garages are located on both of those homes, you have a garage. When you look out, you're going to see the side of a garage because the garage is on the southernmost side on both of those homes. And then when you look, you're looking into a side entry garage also. So then there's a courtyard where the front door will be and so on. So really the only one that sees the front of those homes are the people facing each other. And we didn't feel like that was an attractive streetscape. Plus they are providing a 10-foot landscape tract outside of there. But then there's the wall, and we all know for a long time those trees are very small and you're really looking at a wall. Even though someday in many years there will be a nice trees along there, it's still a concern that it's not going to be as attractive as it would be to look out and see your neighbors in the front of their homes. Staff proposed an option that would take it back to be more like the traditional ranch style homes that we used to see years ago, where the lots are wider and shallower. These lots are a bit more shallow than what we would have seen back then, so it does limit the backyard space. So we proposed some modified conditions of approval that would allow them to have a larger side yard to create that space. So it would be a little bit of an unusual circumstance for somebody, but it could be an attractive option to design something that is a wider home, has a nicer street presence, something a little different than what we're used to seeing. I think we're just very used to the narrow, deeper homes, and this would be a different option for somebody who maybe wants that. It's also a pretty common home type out in this area of Mesa, in the Citrus area. So there's an option there. What it would cause is the applicant would have to design homes for these 2 lots that would work with a different kind of design. That's a concern to the applicant. They'd like to speak with you about that today. But we feel like this is a better option for the neighborhood long term, and to create that kind of quality neighborhood. We feel like these lots could be very desirable for the neighborhood, for somebody that maybe wants to have that different look for their home. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. Okay, the applicant, please. Please do that whole state your name. Oh, that's good stuff.
Just put these here. I know it's kind of far. I'm going old school with no PowerPoint. My name is Paul Dugas. I'm with Blandford Homes and Pinnacle Ridge Holdings, the applicant. Thank you for listening to my commentary here this evening. Just a little bit of overview. I'm going to move away from the mic. Just a little bit of overview. This is the existing estates at Valencia. This is Brown Road, and this here is Greenfield Road. Right here in the middle, you have an old homestead. That's the Armistead Citrus Farm homestead. This is the subject parcel right here of the zoning case. And as you can see, here's just like an artist rendering of that with the 10 lots on it. Oh, thank you. As you can see, the parcel that we are in escrow on, we have not bought yet, but the parcel that we are in escrow on is an odd shape, and it makes it very hard to be able to get the required amount of lots for this 3.5 acres. So what we did is we designed the 2 lots, lots 7 and 8, that are parallel to Fountain Street. There's a lot of good qualities about that lot, and we agree with staff that those lots will definitely be the premier lots. But when we design homes, for a subdivision, the design process is a very, very lengthy process, and it's very driven by good design, good architecture, and I know that this board knows that Blandford Homes builds great subdivisions, quality and quality homes. To take and change the home, number one, to build 2 custom homes in a 10-lot subdivision is just feasibly not possible, and it's definitely not economical. It takes so much time to come up with these home designs, and our home designs sell because they are what the buyer initially wants. Most of the homes today, yes, there's lots of the ranch-style homes around this neighborhood, but it's an older design. And to do the design the way staff has suggested and come in the front door or move the front door to the Fountain Street side, come in your home and not look through the home to the usable, your inside usable space and your outside usable space. And nowadays, everybody's trying to do the inside-outside usable space, and trying to bring the outdoors in is very, very odd. Normally, when you would come in a shallow home like that, the lot would be configured deeper, as staff said, and with it being configured deeper, you could walk in and then have your usable spaces, your living room, your kitchen and stuff there, and look out onto a backyard. And that's how more of the ranch-style houses are around here. This is constrained with the fact that this would end up being a very odd home, and it would actually make these lots less desirable. You'd be walking in, and then you'd be moving to the right or to the left to your living rooms or your usable outside space. It just is not the way these products, this is the artisan product from Mountain Bridge. These homes are $500,000 plus. And also the thought of trying to redesign one of the Mountain Bridge homes it basically is impossible. I mean, without redesigning the whole house, because if you all of a sudden come in on the side, you're now coming in where a bedroom is, or a bathroom, or a laundry room, or something like that. You can't make up that space where the front door is. So you end up losing a room, losing a laundry room, and you just can't do that. We think that the design that we submitted works wonderfully. And what you have in front of you is lots 7 and 8 with a bunch of red line comments on it. What we're willing to do is we're willing to enhance that fence along there, enhance it with, along the tract, enhance it with more columns, stone columns, enhance it with 36 or 48-inch trees. If anybody's been to any of our developments, we don't just go in and put 24-inch trees in. We go in and we have specimen trees, bigger trees. We can make this look like it's 100% right away as far as a buffer. We're willing to upgrade the side elevations, and you have some ideas there that we put together with gables, with a louvered metal shutter, with little shed roofs. We're willing to bring the architecture of the home around the front corner and back all the way until you get to the return wall where the gate would be to go to the backyard. We're willing to add a front walkway so that you can see there's the 2 front walkways that would come down the Fountain Street. At the end of the walkway, put 2 columns, masonry columns. They could each have a light on top of them. And they could have the address of the house on the column or on the side, on the corner of the house. So that would effectively help make the entrance come from Fountain Street. The other concern that, let's see, what else did I say on there? Upgrade the sides. We would like to change the lot lines, too, so we would make the tracks just in front of the walls so that the lot itself would have more frontage onto Fountain Street and the little eyebrow. Let's see what else we got. Those are the main things that we would change there. But let me just give you this is not something that's new. I mean, we have, even at Mulberry, the latest development that we spent a lot of time with planning staff getting approved, there are so many instances where there are end caps. And you have homes like the homes to the south that we will be building that are looking at end caps. But they're not looking at an end cap with a 150-foot space between the fronts of the homes. I realize that on the end caps, the other homes are facing maybe 2 streets on each side. But this right here, for the people, the privacy of the people that are to the south facing north, and then also
I'm sorry, Paul, when you say, I'm Steve.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
It's
but
okay.
I can't see which drawing you're looking at.
I'm looking at this one right here.
Well, that one, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that effectively, there's many, many places where you have lots that are similar like this, and they're not facing right on the road, is what I'm trying to say. You have end caps in subdivisions. You have flag lots all over the place. Las Sendas has flag lots in many, many locations where the lots are set way back. They're at an angle. The homes have longer driveways. They have actually very small frontages usually, maybe as little as 25 feet or 30 feet. This is nothing that's new. It makes these 2 lots unique. These 2 lots they'd be superstar lots to the people that would want to buy here without batting an eyelash. We're willing, these lots would have the enhanced wraparound architecture. They'd have a unique and longer driveway than some of the other lots. They'd each have a 51-foot front yard where everybody else is 18 feet, maybe as close as 15 feet off the road. There's 102 feet between the 2 fronts of the houses. Normally, if these lots were facing and they were turned to face Fountain, the lots would be, these side-turn garages would be 15 feet from the road on each side, and you have a 35-foot private roadway, not a public roadway. So what you end up with is about 65 feet between the fronts of houses. These 2 have 102 feet. And then they also have 148 feet open between the ends of the walls, and they have a little bit of a cul-de-sac feel with that little private eyebrow. They also act like corner lots because all you have is the homestead on one side, and then on the other side, you have a normal end cap street scene. As far as being next to a street and not next to a neighbor. I mean, there's so many pluses to this, and it's not something that's new. We can't put custom homes in a production subdivision, and these homes are the way that people are going to want to live. There's actually 80 feet of frontage right here. With the lot line right here, there's 80 feet of frontage on Fountain Road. But the house is not exactly facing the road. And also, just the part, we were told also that one of the worries was that when you're not going to get to see the front of the house. In this case, with a 148-foot opening between those 2 walls, anytime you're going either way on that street in your car, at an angle, you're going to view the fronts of these houses at an angle, and not much of an angle. You're going to view the fronts of these houses more than if they were straight on the road, because you're only going to view those fronts when you get right to them. We would like to respectfully request that, conditions 9 and 10 be struck from this zoning case and put a condition 9 in there that allows to have our production homes in there, but has all these additional items put in. And I believe it's going to be, I know it's going to be 2 beautiful lots. It's going to be a different street scene. It's not going to be just the normal lining them up all facing the street and all being 18 feet off the street. So I can entertain any questions you want.
Yeah, I had one question, or maybe a couple questions. Now, these are the same floor plans, yet they'll have different elevations, correct?
Right. Well, all I gave you right there was that's one home, and we have no problem with having in that stipulation, having that with the planning director, that these enhancements go through a process, as long as we're not having to change and put a custom home in. We can come in there, we can add gables, we can add all kinds of trim, and we would submit that for these 2 lots, depending which one of the 4 different floor plans that are in the artisan product. So,
okay, so it isn't just, you're not requiring those plans, because they're the only ones that fit on there. There's other plans that they could choose from?
all 4 plans, all the 4 plans of the artisan fit on this, and all the elevations, and there's many elevations to the floor plans. They all fit on these lots. I just gave you an example of one. We don't mind going and having an architectural review on these two lots to make sure that the enhancements help make the exterior of the house, the side of the house, look more like the front architecture. We're willing to do all that stuff, also with the walls, also with the landscaping. It's going to be really attractive, and it's nothing new, and it's only 2 lots out of 10, and actually it's 2 lots out of 53 because there's 43 lots in the estates at Valencia.
And this is a gated community, and that's the exit, more or less.
That is an exit, yeah. So what we did is we just came straight out here. It's an exit only. This will be part of this community. It will not be called Valencia South. It will be Estates at Valencia. They will enter in the normal place that this subdivision's been approved for and come here. When they leave, they have a choice of coming out, going back out the entrance, or going into the neighborhood, or leaving. But it is not an entry off of that road, and it is all private, which was another point we were discussing earlier today. It is a private community, and it's ending up like many places in the Citrus area, where you have an old homestead in the middle, and you configure the lots around that homestead. Because, I mean, in a perfect world, they would sell us the homestead. That would make life very easy for everybody, because then you could line up all the lots and it would work. But they're adamant that they're going to keep that. The Armisteds are going to keep that homestead, and we bought a lot of property from them. We know them well, and have a great relationship with them. So they're gonna fix that homestead up, and they're more than happy to see this property get developed. All the neighbors to the south are ecstatic. 2 of the neighbors emailed Leslie to just say they're in support of the plan. If you guys can it's hard to see on this one here, but that property is code violation after code violation. It's an eyesore. It's blighted. It's just abandoned now. There's not even a renter there. They used to have several buildings and trailers there. The neighbors are so ecstatic that we're coming in here and doing the same thing that we did here. We agreed here to have the lots, different setbacks, wider lots, single story only. So, everybody is happy to see this happen. And in the end, you're going to have an old homestead that's apparently going to be even improved more, and a beautiful citrus subdivision all the way around.
Okay. I just have one question for staff, too, then I'll ask the board for questions. In the event that the board wants to go ahead and pursue this concept, how does all this come in?
We have a product review process that they would have to go through to get the residential product approved. To take what they're building in the other portion of the development, they'd have to get an approval from Mr. Wesley saying that they could build that in this neighborhood. During that step of the process is when we would take a look at the product.
What about all the block enhancements to the fences and to minimum requirement of 48-inch box trees and things like that? Does that have to be part of this process then?
Madam Chair, we would need to have that included in the approval to make that part of the requirements, and then through the subdivision technical review process, we would ensure that those things are incorporated.
Okay, thanks. Board, do you have any questions for the applicant or staff?
Could you just explain a little bit about this area again? Is there going to be any wall or screen wall or anything?
So what it is right there is in the middle there would be a low landscape wall that would come all the way down to the tract of the roadway. That way there, I mean, we were looking to keep that space open and landscaped. It would be enjoyed, even though it is private yard, but it would be enjoyed by people going by, the whole 102 feet between. Also, we know that this is going to be so popular because someone's going to say, my kids could actually play in the front yard, and there's actually yard in the front, and there's actually yard in the back, and it's off the street by that little eyebrow. We just think it's gonna look beautiful there.
Board, any other questions for the applicant or staff?
I guess I have a couple of questions, and one of them I'm a little bit concerned just as I looked at your elevation, and it doesn't seem like I understand you said using the stone on the walls and different things like that, but as far as the enhancements on the side of the building, I guess I'm envisioning that as just a huge wall. If you end up doing a two-story, I don't know if a two-story will fit on this lot.
Sure.
It could, right?
It could, yes.
And it just, that's a huge blank wall, the length of this, length of the house. Obviously you talked about putting different, roof structures that come out or different things like that, enhancements on the walls, but my concern is just the elevation and how that would look. I like the idea of the walkway out to the street, and I understand the location. I would prefer personally to see the ranch style with the front of the house facing the street. However, given that, whether it doesn't goes that direction or not, I'm worried about that enhancements on that side of the wall.
Well, keep in mind that there is a 6-foot wall that is totally enhanced and a landscaped row of mature trees. We're not going to take the side of the house that's behind the wall and put all kinds of expensive materials on it. So you're going to have a 6-foot wall. Generally, a 6-foot wall, if you're on a street, your line of sight, it takes care of pretty much the whole first story. Or the first story of the wall. If it's a two-story wall, then that's where it's going to come into play that during the design review of our product's approved at Mountain Ridge. Our product is not approved yet here. We'll have to go through a design review. So during that time, whatever home we were going to put on these lots, that probably could be predetermined. I'm not sure, but in any case, a two-story home, those upper windows, the upper roof line. Like I said, metal awnings to match maybe the front awnings on a home, the little eyebrow roofs, gables, anything, and again, it's going to go through the design review process. So on a one-story home, I don't think there's any issue. You're going to just see tops of windows, and if we add, different trims that are the same on the front windows, I think that's going to look great. If you go to a two-story, it's probably going to take a little bit more time and a little bit more effort to make it look really good. But then again, it's still the same as an end cap at Mulberry, and they're all there. So we're going to do this up. We're going to do it right, and it still has to go through. The.
So what you're basically doing is trying to make the best out of these two lots the way they sit.
Exactly.
Because you can't. I don't know what else you can really do.
Using our product is the main thing. I noticed
that on the bottom, I'm referring to the top, the drawing that you have up there, where you had the drawing where you have the light green. The driveways don't work. As nice as the front of the house would be, I don't see there would be any way someone could drive into the garage,
especially the side
under that configuration.
So the light green.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
On the light green one?
The light green one, that's correct.
Because we would have a side-turn garage, and you'd have to go a total U-turn.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that, and it's very difficult, I think, from what I've seen and on that. So if you're talking about the top, the darker green lot, that's probably a preferable way to go, and I think that's what you're talking about. Is that correct, Paul?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's only a comment I have, not really a question.
Well, I just had a question too. So then, what if we just restrict them to single level? What's your reaction to that? Because suddenly now we're behind the wall. This is a non-issue. We've got a very decorative wall. We've got the big trees, line of sight. All we're looking at really are roofs. I really understand your situation circumstances. I'm in agreement. I don't believe we should be forcing you to design. I guess we could.
Well, we did it. We did it across the street. Those are all single-story all the way across the whole southern border are single-story, so that the people in Fairfield, is it Fairfield Estates or on Fairfield Street? It's not Fairfield Estates, but Fairfield Street, so that they had single stories behind them.
How damaging would that be to your project if we were just restrict them? Then a lot of this just goes away.
It really does. It really does. And the home that I have on here is the biggest single story, so it is the. Do
you have? I haven't looked at your whole floor plan assortment, but do you have enough models there that are single story that would still offer plenty of options to a would-be buyer?
There's 2 single stories and two stories.
Okay.
So You know what? I wouldn't have a problem with keeping those single story. I think that those probably would be good as single story lots next to the homestead and everything like that. Well, actually, these are all single story. So in the interior is probably where there's going to end up being more 2-story homes.
Okay,
we
so
sell
then-
more, and we sell more.
So
yes.
the reality is you're saying that's probably what you're going to put there anyway.
It could very, yeah.
Most likely. So then the next question is, well, then what about all these enhancements to the home? Do we even need to address that any longer, or does that go away?
Well, we need to address the 48-inch box trees in the nice wall.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Well, that's what I mean.
If
We're assuming those stay there, correct?
if we did that, and then what we did is we just wrapped around the architecture to the return wall where the gate would be. So we did that, returned that around to there. We enhanced that wall with the stone columns, with the mature trees. I think you're exactly right. We put the sidewalk in. We still go through architectural review. We still have our same product. I think that would be simple and easy to do.
Staff, did if I might ask a question, did you consider just restricting these to single level as a way to alleviate this discussion?
That was such a minor portion of our concern that no, we didn't really go with that as part of the consideration. Just the whole orientation of the houses on the lots to us is going to be a long-term.
Do you feel any different then if we were to do the your position still the same?
I guess single story makes a little bit of difference because of the comments Board Member Allen brought up with more of a big blank wall that we would look at on a side, so that it is marginally better, but it doesn't address any of the real concerns of staff to limit them to single story.
Yeah, so my idea would be is we'd still dress up the wall.
Yeah.
And those features.
Now, would a different type of wall, like with wrought iron column, something like that, break it up enough and still have the enhancements to the side elevations?
Madam Chair, looking into people's side yards, that might not be desirable. What we have seen in a lot of other neighborhoods, in fact, the one that was on the agenda tonight for Guadalupe and Hawes, the applicant was wrapping the corners, because in a lot of these subdivisions, that is a problem, looking at the end of these homes for these houses. So we're trying to mitigate that in the cases that are coming through. We do have it all over town. It's not necessarily good. So we're trying to encourage the builders to wrap the corners with porches and pull fence returns back so that you do see more of that house to the street. But also, I think that one of the big concerns on this one is how much of that it's garage on that corner. Typically on a corner lot, you would have livable on the corner of that home. So it's easier to wrap those details to make it look nice to the street, because you maybe have a front door near there just on the other edge. I think that would certainly be more desirable to staff than to have the side of a garage on that corner. But
We are willing to wrap that corner and again go through the architectural process and figure out what would maybe make it. It's not going to look like an entrance, but if you come up the walkway or you're looking at that corner, just the fact that it looks like there's some sort of livable or different a window or something like that, things like that could be done. We'll work with staff on all of that stuff.
So on the back of these lots, excuse me, I don't have the diagram that I like that one there where I can see the two lots to the west of the two that we're discussing.
Yeah.
There's just a 6-foot wall against what might be a driveway or a side yard. Is that what I'm seeing?
Where is that? On lot 9? 9
I
and
can't
10?
see the number very well. It looks
two
like that.
taller lots?
Is that 9 and 10?
9 and 10, yeah. What
So
would
not
happen-
lot 9
Right.
on the east side of lot 9, assuming plan north is up.
Yep.
We'd have a 6-foot wall adjacent a driveway, or is that?
Well, I'm not sure which way they would orient. They may orient the house one way or the other. They may put the driveway on the left or on the right. It probably would make more sense in that case to put the driveway on the right. Generally, we put the 10-foot
Absolutely.
side
So
yard.
you back out, there's a viewing angle of some sort.
Exactly. So that may very well be that would be on the right, which usually would push that house on lot 9 5 feet farther over. Also, lot 9 is it's a wider lot because of this little. There's a jog in lot 9 right here that goes like this and comes back.
Okay.
So what we did is we made this one. It's actually bigger than that. It's about 80 feet wide. This is one of the old artist renderings. It's about 80 feet wide because what we wanted to do is from here to here, from this jog to here, we wanted it to be a minimum of 65 feet. That way there, we didn't have any problems with this backyard and encroaching on the backyard setback. So that lot right there is going to have a home that's going to be farther away from this home by probably, it could be as much as 20 feet away.
And I just had one other question for you, if I could. Mm-hmm. And that is, have you considered, and maybe it's because of the location of the drive where it needs to be, reversing, flipping that house so that the garage is on the back side, the front door is closer to the street?
Well, the only thing is the front door, when you're looking at this home, it's not quite in the middle. It is farther away in this plan. But on the other side is a garage also. So that is a garage that's sticking out, and it faces to the south. So as Steve was saying, if we flip that over, the dark green, if we flip it over, then the driveway would have to come up like the light green, and then you'd have to do a complete U-turn to get in the side load garage, because that is a side load garage. So this home has garage, not garage doors, but it's got garage across most of the front. So either way, you're still going to have garage. And this way here, it's easier to get in, and it's easier to get in both garages, especially the side load garage.
Thank you.
So even if these were flipped around, we weren't going to be looking at anything real pretty except for some garages, right?
It's all pretty. Everybody's, I'm sure that everybody's been to Mountain Bridge and been to Los Angeles.
What the staff wants, and I agree that I agree with a lot of your concerns, but I also look at this ranch style light green proposal, and I like ranch houses. I've always liked the architecture, but there's a lot that goes with a ranch house. It has a ranch feeling, and it goes back, and I don't see how you can just put a ranch-looking house on what appears to be like a mobile home lot or something, because you're not going to have any space behind it. So I'm against the ranch style, but I'm not sure where the solution is with all the other and how many enhancements are needed. So I'll leave it to the board for any other comments.
I actually have more concern with the Lot 9 and that the back of the home. When you enter into this division, you can see, again, this isn't a design review board, but ultimately the visual of just, if this is single-story home, you're going to see the majority of the gable off of that backside as you kind of drive in. And I don't know how much we've dressed up the rear of the homes, but most of them you don't see ever, except in this location. You'll be looking at the rear of a home above a 6-foot fence. I'm guessing the height of these homes is somewhere in the almost 23-foot range, so we're still sitting with, almost 15 feet of rear visual.
And you're talking about driving in from west to east?
That's another thing.
Because you're not coming in that way.
You can only go out.
Okay. It is only an exit only, but just another thing to go along with that. Now, the other things are we are going to have the trees on this corner. These lots are extra long, so there's much more backyard. That's the longest house you have on there, and it's got about a 38-foot backyard, so it's going to be quite a ways back. Plus, this home will probably only be 18 feet off the front. So even if you were walking this way, because you're pretty much not going to drive that way, if you were walking that way, you've got a home that's only 18 feet, could be as close as 15 feet to a side load garage. So that's going to block that view, and the fact that this home is pushed over, I think, is a good thing for this backyard being next to that side yard, and it is an exit only.
How are you restricting the exit only, or is it a signage thing? Is that what we staff, I guess?
There's a gate and everything.
Gate?
Remember,
Okay.
also,
Gate, yeah.
it will be
Okay.
gated.
There's no
So you
turnaround.
cannot enter there. There won't
No.
be. Okay.
No, it's a
Great.
gated community.
Yeah.
There's no entry. The only people that can enter there are, public safety, garbage.
Okay.
They have the ability to come
All
in
right.
that way, to be able to hit both sides of the street or to come in on emergency access. That's all on a little actuator.
That clarifies it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul, I'm looking at this. I really don't have a problem because where I live, my house, my backyard abuts to my neighbor, pretty much the way you have theirs, and I don't give it too much of a thought. And we only live in a single level home,
Yeah.
not a 2-story, but
Well,
it's not a problem. I don't see it as a problem, to be honest with you.
we would agree to a single-story restriction, and then the wraparound enhancements, all the wall enhancements, and the landscaping enhancements. And I guarantee it's going to be a beautiful street scene there.
Sounds like you get your 48.
Yes, go ahead.
Madam Chair, members of the board, a couple of code issues come up with viewing these with the front of the homes to the, I guess, 7 being to the east and 8 being to the west. One of them would be that lot 7 would become, we get a key lot situation there, so that corner of that is going to end up being clipped. The back kind of southwest corner of that lot 7 to meet the code for that, where it provides that visibility.
I don't understand that. Mike, do you understand what you're talking about?
She's somewhere over here.
Yeah, she's talking about cutting
The-
The radius is.
On which lot, Leslie?
Lot 7, that's the one
I
on
think
the
she's
west.
saying it's going to
On
clip
what?
into here more?
Oh, is that 8?
That's 9 and 10 to the west.
Oh, it may be lot 8, the one on the west side.
The one on the left side?
Yeah.
West side.
Where is it going to have to be?
Lot 8, I'm sorry,
Right
lot
side.
8. That
Yeah.
southwest corner of that lot would have to be clipped because
And that-
you're going to have the back of a house and the side of the front of a house, so you're going to have a key lot.
Well,
That's in the
you're gonna-
subdivision
you're gonna-
regulations.
You might have a site triangle
Right.
option. So what would have to happen is if that had to be clipped, that would be
Right.
fine. That'll all be part of
Right.
subdivision technical.
I was just noting that
Yeah.
that's going to be required. I wanted the board to be aware that that may also be something Board Member Astle was
Yeah.
kind of curious about with the back of that. The other issue is the homeowners of those lots in the future, it's potentially they could come in and want a 6-foot wall between those two homes in the front, depending on how we view the front of this home. So we need to address that also to make sure that we, maybe the board is okay with that, but there is the potential for a homeowner to come in and ask for or put up a 6-foot wall between those two homes.
But the thing is it would be disclosed, and it could easily be part of the CC&Rs, that this is how this is going to be. We do not have, this is an HOA, this is how this wall is. I'm sure that we could make it a stipulation that has to be it has to be the short 24-inch or 30-inch landscape wall. Then people don't come in to any of our other subdivisions and ask to raise walls. They're not allowed. They have to go through an architectural review committee, and they can't on their own decide to do that. So
I
we
just
would
wanted to
have there would
be
be
sure it was
controls on
noted.
that. Yeah.
So,
Any other comments, board? You're looking for some kind of a motion. The companion.
I'll give this a shot. To me, I think there's still a lot of unknowns out there. I feel like design needs to be, we need to look at all the options. I don't know that this is the best option or if there's a better option out there. I would recommend that we continue this case to the March meeting.
I would second that.
Okay, I've got a motion, I've got a second, please vote. 5 in favor, 2 against, so this will be continued to the next meeting. Will that be the March 23rd?
Right.
Thank you. For the record, Mr. Clements and I voted nay. Okay, does that conclude?
Chair and board members, just to make sure that we know what to do between now and March 23rd, I take it from that maybe there's not total satisfaction in either solution yet. And so we need to see if there's some other alternative or work on refining some of these things that the applicant has brought up and figure out what those steps would really have to be if we're going to go that route and that type of thing.
We need a condition of approval we can make a motion off of.
Right.
And I think if we were able to see some of the refinement, it might help. A lot of this is talk that I know it could really, we have some elevations here which presented. It might be good to see some of the angles that they're proposing and really understand how, it's really an aesthetic concern. I know this isn't really a design review board, but if that's what we're talking about, a lot of the arguments that it would be good to see it.
Well, we are talking about aesthetics if it's going to mitigate the site plan.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so ultimately, in the elevation, I think it would help everybody see, you know.
But I don't really hear a requirement or an expectation that we customize the homes other than just take what product they have and adapt it in some suitable fashion or something closer to what will incorporate everything we've been talking about. Is that
Well, I think that, but I also think that we should look at other options.
such as?
Such as
uniquely, I mean,
Yeah,
uniquely
unique
designed home?
design, maybe something.
Customs?
Maybe there's not necessarily a custom. I mean, they can modify a semi-custom. You guys have a lot of product, I know, throughout the valley that you could, is there something else that might work on that site that still will fit the color and the architecture style of that subdivision?
The issue is we don't build that type of home, and then that collection of homes is designed as a collection. It's to have two homes in a production neighborhood. They're production homes, but they're very nice ones. It doesn't work. What'll end up happening, most likely.
Because I think you need to come up here. We're going to get, I hate when I get in trouble for this stuff.
We're only in escrow on this property right now, and it's been a really tough thing to even get it in escrow with the owner, and it's been tough to keep it in escrow. It actually fell out once already. If we need to have 10 lots, and we need to be able to put our product on it, and need to make it part of Valencia, it just gets to the point if we have to design custom homes or those lots are going to become less desirable or different, you have issues down the road too. So now you convince somebody, you put a different home there, and it's not like what everybody's buying. You end up having to give all kinds of incentives. You end up having to just sell those two just to sell them when they could be unique lots that people would really want with our product that people want. And then down the road, if a person doesn't sell their house for what they want, or now all of a sudden they're the different people on the block. And this is not custom homes where all of a sudden everybody's going to have a $500,000 house, and these people are going to have a $700,000 house. It ends up making it a problem for the people to buy those, and possibly a problem down the road for us. I mean, we've been doing it for a long, long time, and this is the first time in 38 years that we do not go through either on consent or when it's taken off on a 6-1. And Jeff wanted me to mention that, and I didn't mention it. But here we are, where we want to do something good. It's nothing new. And it's going to look beautiful. You have it existing in other neighborhoods, and now we were going to be postponed another month. And at least at this point, I'm gathering that the board is hopefully instructing staff to use our product and to make some enhancements and make sure we understand how good it's going to look. If that's all it is, it's a month's delay, but as long as we're not trying to design a ranch or something. If we are going to have to design a different product or get rid of any lots, we're just going to let it go. It's not worth it for us for the 10 lots. So that's where we're at, and whenever we buy small pieces like this, it's got to be a certain way. And these people are charging, believe me, I know it doesn't make any difference, but this 3.5 acres is very expensive, and the only way we'll do it is if we get 10 lots. So otherwise...
It's like I said,
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem with the way because of the lots they're situated, because as I mentioned before, I actually live in a home that the backyard does go back, butts to my neighbors to the back, and I don't have a problem. I did vote yay to continue it, but the way it stands, I don't have a problem with it because, like I said, from personal experience, from where I live now, that has not been a problem.
And I don't think anybody's telling you, that you can't have 10 lots. That's not the issue.
Yeah, I know, and I
We want to
realize
see
that.
a product that is complete and that shows the enhancement, something that will fit on the lot, something that staff is happy with. We want to take a look at something that's just a little more compatible, I guess.
Well, and I also think this coming in, 5 minutes before we saw 5 minutes before the meeting. I think that was hard for us too.
And I agree, and I apologize. And we only got the staff report. It was emailed to me on Thursday of last week. I was on vacation Thursday, Friday. I came back yesterday, And
With
it
a
had
red
not,
pen.
yeah, and it had not heard anything from staff about my second submittal, was always thinking that we were okay to go. And I apologize for not making it to the study session. That would have solved it, but I didn't make it that morning. I had something else I had to do. And then later in the day is when I realized there was the conditions. So hopefully we can do something with staff that uses our product and is enhanced.
And then we'll see you next month.
Okay, you will.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And I just want to add, I'm not expecting a new product. I just work with what you have and do
and see what it
incorporate
looks like.
everything we've talked
And
about.
I believe ranches should look like they're on a ranch.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Any other items, board? Staff, we're good? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Second? Second. All in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you very much.